All right, we are live on a Tuesday. It is open season. I'm your host, Billy Allen. Justin Elaine sitting in tow. We got a lot of things we're going to be talking about tonight. Obviously, Rob Gronkowski with the latest news, Pat's draft. We'll be talking about The Last Dance, the new Patriots jerseys. God, those things look terrible. Where's Leonard Fournette heading? All these athletes also, they can't practice, and we got the Zoom draft coming up. So things are changing in the world of sports, but I think we'd be remiss if we didn't start by talking about Gronk to start things out. I mean, it's pretty crazy. This news kind of comes out of nowhere. And it's obviously led by Tom Brady. Tom Brady, the guy who they said was the guy that kind of put this move together and really kind of pulled the strings, so to speak, on this. But I never thought Gronkowski was going to come back. Did you think he was ever going to come back after some of the things he had said?
No, I didn't think at all. I thought he was retired. Especially, didn't he sign with the WWE like last week or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, he just won the 24/7 belt. That's really prestigious stuff.
Yeah, I must have forgot to tune into that. But I mean, he clearly, I thought his body broke down his last year, and I think he was just fed up with Belichick. The hardcore day in, day out. And I think Brady, this was in the works for a little while now. Obviously, him and Brady stay in touch, and
yeah,
he's probably not going to have to do OTAs. Who knows if he'll even have to block anymore? He might just be a Jimmy Graham type tight end, trying to stay healthy.
Do you think this is a knock against Belichick? I mean, first he loses Brady, then he loses Rob Gronkowski. He loses the best quarterback ever, and then arguably the best tight end ever. Is this a knock on Belichick? Did he pick the right time on these guys? What do you think about that? I mean, both of them leave at the same time.
I think the Brady one is definitely, he has a lot to do with that. Brady wanted out. He's sick and tired of getting bossed around, not getting paid. The Gronk one's a little different, though, because he retired. And it wasn't because, I think his body worn down and then he just wasn't having fun. But unless you're Lane Johnson on the Eagles, that everyone has fun. I mean, do you want to win championships, or do you want to finish in, 12th place?
Well, it seems like arguably these guys do want to have fun, though. Brady and Gronkowski going down to, no matter if we win or lose, we booze Bruce Arians. So it's definitely a change of scenery.
Yeah, let's see if they start losing, how much fun they're having.
Yeah.
The first time they go to New Orleans and they get smoked, their offense is going to be loaded. Brady honestly could have an MVP season. Looking at, and like they're going to get a running back probably in the draft. They're going to be loaded. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's pretty crazy that Gronkowski, he kind of plays the Patriots like this for a year, and then they make the trade to, ultimately appease him. He said he wasn't going to play for anybody else, and I think that was probably per Tom Brady, but I wonder if he would have come back with anyone else, because if you had told me that he was coming back with anyone a year ago, I would have said he was coming back with the Patriots. Didn't picture him going to another team. I didn't picture the Pats letting him out so easily. They're the Patriots. I would have assumed they would have held it against him and try to get the best return.
He actually did them a favor by not unretiring and having the Pats release him, because that $10 million would have gone against our cap. So by us trading him, we get that off our cap. We only had $2 million to spend, so we just got $10 million back. We're probably going to trade Joe Thuney or someone else that's making money, one of the other offensive linemen.
Do you think they'll trade him during the draft, Thuney?
I think they want to, but I think, isn't a first round, don't you have to trade him for a first round pick?
You may. Is it a first round, or they could trade him for a second as well, maybe?
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know who's going to trade for a first round pick for Joe Thuney. Probably a second round, but $14 million per card.
Tyler Zabindin says Gronk is a frail shell of himself. What do you think about that?
Gronk is going to. I said it tonight after this. I would not be surprised if Gronk got hurt maybe second week in the regular season. you can't just go from not playing football to just taking a year off at 31, and he already has
Yeah.
an injury history. So unless he's going to play in a bubble, he's going to get hit, he's going to get hurt, and how much passion does he have to come back? This isn't
I think he's definitely going to get hurt. I mean, when he was with the Patriots, you could set your watch to it. He wasn't going to finish any of those years healthy, and it was all about kind of trying to preserve him for the, So I think it's obvious he just plays a type of football that it's too many collisions, and when you make that many types of collisions, like straight down the field, it's like a running back who goes straight ahead every time. Gronk is kind of straight ahead down the seam, and it's where those guys can take their chances on him and really just
I also feel bad,
go for those kill shots.
I feel bad for him. How many what's his walking ability going to be like 15, 20 years from now?
Yeah.
People
well,
it's kind of like a Welker, all his concussions. It's like, just walk away, man. Like Gronk, he's a character, everyone loves him, but Gronk at 31, how much are you actually getting out of him?
Yeah.
Other than a red zone target and a couple play action passes a game, what is he actually contributing to that team? They don't need Gronk.
No, they don't need Gronk. Certainly not. I mean, it's definitely gluttony for them is to add Gronk to it, and that's going to be an offense that can pretty much rival the greatest show on turf as far as a personnel standpoint. I mean, when you talk about it, they're going to have an all-pro at every position. I mean, I think Gronk has got to get back to the weight room and be able to put some additional muscle on because he is way too skinny. And he's got to, and like you said, there's no way to we never see these guys leave football, come back and have the type of impact that they do. It's kind of hard to simulate that game to game and that year to year grind. Like Gronk just taking a complete year off in his prime. I mean, or not his prime. I mean, and he was kind of done at the end anyway. So for him to come back, if you look at clips of him last year versus clips in like 2013,
exactly,
you're watching a completely different animal.
That's the thing with Brady too. It's like, he's obviously not. You can't put all the blame on him last year. He didn't have much to work with. He's frustrated, but I think sometimes people seem to think we're getting this player with like a value, like Brady is one of the greatest of all time. You're like, we're getting Tom Brady. You're getting Tom Brady at 43. You're getting Gronk at 31, coming off a year he didn't play. Your two best offensive players are Evans and Godwin, and they're both in their early 20s.
Yeah. Well, it's hard being a team like Tampa Bay and being so far away from winning. It's like you'll take those pieces as dinged up as they have to be.
Last year, Tampa Bay probably paid people to come in to watch them. These it's like the Miami Heat fans when they got LeBron and everybody. It's like all these fans, they're not actually diehard fans. They're just a bunch of bandwagon fans. Bunch of Southern rednecks taking all our boys away from us.
Oh, I know. Do you think Edelman is next to go? Do you think
Edelman? I think Edelman's sitting in a dark room tonight. It's like listening to some Adele, just hanging out by himself. Like, what is going on?
Michelle Branch. Sometimes you have to.
Remember when he signed that contract 4 years ago? Or they renegotiated this year, but he signed to link up with Brady's timeline. I think he's a free agent 2 years from now. You want to play with Brady, and then Brady's gone.
Yeah.
Now he's playing with, we don't even know. He's got none of his boys around him.
Hopefully, he's playing with the high-flying Hoyer offense.
And he still has to listen to Belichick yelling at him all the time. Where Bruce Arians is like, come on down, let's have some beers.
That is so ridiculous that those guys are going to play for. Do you think it'll work for Gronk? Where he's got to be on he's not have to be on his best behavior, and he could possibly give into that type of lifestyle.
Brady is going to keep him, from doing stupid stuff, you would think. But I don't know. I just don't see this. You're paying Gronk $10 million this year.
Yeah.
Don't you think that's way too much money?
That's way too much, and it's definitely, like I said, it's like gluttony. It's way too much from a talent. They don't need it. They have two guys. I would rather piece together Cameron Brate and O.J. Howard than to have Gronk.
This is what happens when Brady wants to be a part of the roster.
Yeah.
Never had that here. And now he's
Yeah.
like, well, we got to get Gronk. What are they? Are they going to get Amendola back?
And they can't say no to that.
Let's sign LeGarrette Blount off. He's probably not doing too much right now.
Yeah, let's sign who's the other Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, that would be great. Leonard
You see
Fournette.
that they're looking to trade him?
Talk about a franchise that like just completely imploded. They two years ago, they almost beat us with Blake Bortles. That defense was unbelievable.
They were
Leonard
up by 14.
Leonard Fournette was like the premier like running back in the league. And now look at them. They have like their defensive end talking trash to the owner on Twitter, like trade me, all this stuff. They signed Nick Foles. They traded Jalen Ramsey. Like it's just, how do you go from this is the future to you're nothing now?
Because Blake Bortles was so bad, I think, and they were living on that defense so much. I mean, that defense could only carry them so far.
Yeah, but like if you think about it, like
they had a
Blake
young
Bortles,
defense and they weren't paying their quarterback yet, so they had the ideal model for a good team too.
Okay, so the difference between Blake Bortles and Ryan Tannehill, is it that far apart?
Probably not.
Right? I mean, if you gave Blake Bortles Derrick Henry
I
in
guess
that offensive line.
my stance has changed a bit on Tannehill. I mean, do I think he's worth all the money they signed him to? God, no. But I mean, he's shown that he's like a competent quarterback, I guess. Like he's better than anyone that Miami's had since Marino.
So you take away Derrick Henry for like, say he gets hurt this year for a couple games. What's Ryan Tannehill look like?
Yeah, he looks like a backup or
in the Patriots game, he threw the ball what 10 times?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be serious here. Ryan Tannehill benefits from Derrick Henry. He's got a great offensive line. I don't want to pay that guy $20 million if I don't know he's the guy to lead me there. He's not the guy.
No, I think they're complete idiots for doing that. I can't believe that they joke around and pimped around the whole like Tom Brady signing, and then they go ahead and sign Tannehill. It just makes no sense. It's like, why didn't you sign Brady or what? And why do they pay $32 million? Was anybody else going to pay Ryan Tannehill $32 million for 4 years?
I'd rather give Cam Newton a 1 year, $20 million deal than Ryan Tannehill for 4 years or whatever he got. He's not going to be leading anyone to the playoffs, but I it's going to be interesting to see how many games the Bucs win. I think every game is going to be high scoring. It's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be like arena football, but there's going to be some times they play a good defense, and I don't know. I still don't think they're going to go to the championship.
Tampa Bay?
No, I don't see them.
Do you think this raises? So everybody said they were going to win 9 games. How many games do you think they're going to win now? How many games is a 31-year-old Gronk worth?
I mean, I don't think he does. Like we're talking about, like OJ Howard 2 years ago, he played what, like 10 games? He had like 600-700 yards. Would you rather have OJ Howard or a 31-year-old Gronk that didn't play for the last year?
I mean, at this point, I'd probably rather have OJ Howard. I don't think that Rob Gronkowski is going to be the game changer that he was.
Unless they have another trade up their sleeve where they're going to trade him for like a second-round pick. Like they're just going to release him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like trade him to get some defense. Your defense is terrible. It's going to be interesting. I always like to wait to judge Belichick until after the draft to see what happens. I really hope he doesn't fuck up like he has the last 2 years, because he has set us back 2 years. We don't have any good young players. Our best young player is Joe Tooney, and he's about to get traded.
So speaking of the draft, what do you think is about to happen there? Do you think the Pats are going to keep that pick? Do you think that they're going to take Tua? Do you think that they're going to take Herbert? Any quarterback? You think they're going to even keep? Let's start with, do you think they'll even keep the first round pick?
So let's think of it from what I want. Of course, I want them to draft a linebacker. What's going to happen? They're going to trade out, get 2 second-round picks, probably draft a cornerback um, a tight end, and like a running back that they'll never even play. I just really hope that Belichick's, sticks with stop drafting offensive guys in the first round. Get us some defensive guys. That's where he always hits. First round,
Yeah.
every defensive guy is always hit.
He always hits in like the middle of the first round. We've always had those, like they talked about the draft a few years ago where he took Jamie Collins and like Chandler Jones, I think, in the same draft. And he traded up to get like both those guys.
Well, I think we was that this. They got Collins and Hightower in the first round that year.
Collins and Hightower, yeah.
Like how no, not Collins. Sorry, Hightower and Jones.
Hightower and Jones, and then Collins was later that year, I think. I mean, that was like a hell of.
He was like a third. He was like a second or third round pick. He has a ton of late round picks. It's just.
But have you heard the stat though that they haven't taken they haven't drafted a Pro Bowler in 7 years, which is the same as the Bengals. That's them and the Bengals are the only team that are 7 years without drafting a Pro Bowler.
That's a little bit doesn't make a lot. You can't really quantify that because the Bengals pick in the top 5 every year. That's not. We've always picked them like the bottom of the first round.
Oh no, I was just saying how you'd never want to be mentioned with them. But yeah, I definitely think it's like if you're taking like the 5th pick every year, you should have drafted a couple Pro Bowlers.
If you're Joe Burrow, would you sit out and not get drafted by the Bengals? Because I would.
No, I would play. I think you just gotta go to. So you would sit. You would be a Manning. I think you got to go there. It's like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna be this guy that's like hated his whole career by all these different people because where are you gonna go that's that much better?
Elway did it. Didn't Jim Kelly do it too?
I don't know if Jim Kelly did it also.
I mean, it's just the Bengals have been so bad for so long, and like their owner is such a joke.
They've actually had some playoff runs though. Not playoff runs, but they make the playoffs.
Yeah, they just make a lot of stupid decisions. But then again, if you don't go there, then the Redskins take you, and you're worse off.
Yeah,
it's weird. But so for the Pats, I really want them to draft that linebacker at Oklahoma or the linebacker out of LSU. I don't know if they'll last that long. Both like outside linebackers, really athletic, and cover running backs. You need to, Hightower is almost 30, and he's definitely slower than he used to be. I don't know how many more years he has left. You need to get someone else in there.
Yeah, I feel like I've been worried about Hightower for a few years now, so they could definitely use some speed there. You were talking about Kenneth Murray, right?
Yeah, Kenneth Murray, or who's the other
guy?
Apparently
he's got awesome range. Like they say, he's a prototypical Belichick linebacker too.
Yeah, and Patrick Queen, he's inside linebacker at LSU. He's like a freak athlete. But then again, some of these other guys are like dropping into the early second round. So if you're telling me you can get like that AJ Espinoza guy you were mentioning earlier,
oh my God,
somewhat falling out of the first round, and you can get him early in the second and get another second round pick. I mean, the Mohamed Sanu trade screwed us so badly.
Oh, so bad. And he's not even going to play it. And he was like returning punts for us and stuff like that. Like they're trying to like use him as much as they can to try to justify that trade. But he's awful. God, he has stone hands.
Yeah, but I really want them to get a linebacker in the first. I'd like for them like the third to get a tight end from either Notre Dame or Missouri. The tight end from Notre Dame, the tight end draft this year is not great. But if you can get one of those two in like the late second or early third, like we need who do we have? Matt Lacrosse? We have 0 tight ends.
Oh, I know. It's terrible.
It's been built off tight ends since Daniel Graham, Ben Watson, then it was Gronk Hernandez.
Did you see the tight end that they've talked about that could potentially be there? The kid from Dayton?
Yeah, he's like a freak athlete, but I guess he is one of the worst blocking tight ends of all time. So I don't know how that Belichick would let that fly.
Yeah, apparently he used to be a quarterback, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently he's got like great catch radius. He seems like he would be more of a guy that would be less inclined to be on the line and block.
he's a guy that we would want, but a guy like Belichick would rather draft a tight end that is only
Instead,
the block.
he was used as a lead blocker in a fullback set a lot. So I
Yeah, but he
mean,
was playing for Dayton. Who are they playing? Framingham
true.
State. Um, so no, he's a freak athlete, and I do think there's a good amount of receivers you can get in like the fourth round. Some like slot receivers is what we need. Um,
So
I'm
you
sick
think
of
they draft down? So they trade down into the second, get a couple, get a linebacker like some speed on the edge.
or you use the scrum fourth round. We have a couple fourth rounders. You trade into the second or early third. Like Belichick needs to be aggressive and get some of these good players because this is no one wants to call it rebuilding because like we just signed McCourty, we still have Gilmore, but like look around this team, it's a bunch of like 30-year-old has-beens. Our rookie quarterback, our best receiver, who we want to be, had a terrible rookie year. Our offensive line coach just retired. Um, you know,
Yeah,
this
it would be a
like
terrible situation to step into right now. It's not an appealing situation to step into in
exactly,
Foxborough.
exactly, and we have no money. We're paying Brady 13. We're paying Antonio Brown 7. We were paying Gronk 10. And what's the cap? Isn't it like 60 million or something for like for everybody? Like,
Yeah.
Belichick likes to pay Nate Ebner like $2 million, where like other teams don't pay special team guys.
So do you think they end up trading anyone like Stephon Gilmore or something like? I know you kind of think this is going to be a rebuild. Like, do you think they go over the top and trade someone like Stephon Gilmore after a Defensive Player of the
I mean,
year and get him when you have the most value?
the only way we're trading Gilmore is if we can get a top 5 pick. And the only
Yeah.
team I think that would trade would be the Lions. Why
Yeah.
would
So
the
if the Lions gave the third pick, would you do that? I guess.
I don't know. See, like I really feel like if Belichick is smart in this draft and drafts some good linebackers, and our secondary is good,
Yeah.
we could make the playoffs. And Gilmore he's our most important player. He's our best player. So I don't know if the Lions would even do that because they can get that kid out of Ohio State with the third pick. I don't know. It's interesting, and I know that you are looking at like Tua. I don't want anything to do with Tua. Um,
I
his
just get excited about it, like the quarterback talk. It's like, the Pats probably aren't going to trade up and do that, but it's just interesting. Some of these guys who, if they fall, I mean, Tua has been a guy that is compared to a left-handed Drew Brees. He's like been more accurate than, he's really accurate. He's the guy that Saban chose. Like Saban chose him over the other guy,
yeah
Jalen Hurts. So it's
yeah
just
no
like, and I think Saban really likes him. They say he's like a gamer too. And they said that Saban's going to tell all that stuff to Belichick. So it would just be cool to see them one time get the talent. I mean, we're used to seeing them work up fourth rounders, sixth rounders. Be nice to see them work with a talented top of the line. And they're never going to get a chance to really
so
based on
so
where
if
they finish.
so say Tua falls out of the top 10 because of his medical history. 49ers have two first round picks, and they're looking to trade both of them. If you can trade, probably you'd have to like Joe Tooney and like a second round pick or something. I'd be okay with getting Tua, but like it's just it's just
It's
so
a
hard.
huge risk. Yeah.
You just know that this team needs a defense like more than anything. We need like all of our defensive players are old,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I
They
certainly do
need to
not
turn
want.
them over like they need, like the New Jerseys,
I'll
They need
tell
to
you who will be
change.
the biggest bust this draft will be Justin Hebert.
Why is he going to be the Bledsoe, the guy who's got the size and the arm, but
Like the reports like about him are like he just like when the pressure is on, he crumbles. And like when was the last time Oregon had a good quarterback? Like how many times are we going to be faked out with Marcus Mariota or some of these other crap bad quarterbacks? Like the Pac-12
the
hasn't had a
Chip
good
Kelly
quarterback.
gimmick offense.
Like why do people draft quarterbacks out of the Pac-12? Jared Goff, complete bust. The last good quarterback of the Pac-12 was Aaron Rodgers. Every year, Mark Sanchez, boss. Like that type of football is just not.
Yeah, it's like when it's all schemed up and gimmicks and stuff like that, you can't do that in the NFL. Like you need to have the talent. You can't already be scheming up
I just
when
feel
you
like every year in the draft, the media just circles around these quarterbacks. There's always a quarterback that like all of a sudden like that Jordan Love guy. I had never heard of him before in my life until 2 weeks ago. He played at Utah State, like, and now all of a sudden he's supposed to like.
Hey, Alex Smith played at Utah State, didn't he?
No, he played at Utah.
Oh crap!
He was but like they're like he's the next Patrick Mahomes. There is no other Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, there is not.
And
No.
they're saying he needs time. So like you're going to draft him to sit on the bench for a year, like that's not Belichick. He's not going to draft. Like that would have been okay to do that while Brady was here to like set him up for that. But I really feel like they have faith in Stidham, and we're just going to have to see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, I hope they do. I mean, it was encouraging after Brady left, all the guys that kind of jumped out, like Stephon Gilmore and other guys that were saying that he really put a challenge on him in practice and was there practicing a lot. So it seems like because of Brady's elbow injury that he did get a lot of reps with the number ones. So a lot more than you typically would as the backup quarterback. So, I mean, let's hope. And I mean, I don't know. I think it's pretty crazy that this is the backup plan. This is the contingency plan for Brady. Like, didn't you think that there's just got to be more than this?
There was a plan. It was Garoppolo, and then Brady stayed, but they have no money to spend. They have 120 million cap next year.
Yeah.
Like this is a clear rebuild year. And like you just need a good defense to get you through the AFC to get you to the playoffs.
Oh, I still feel like this team can make the playoffs.
Like, but we have holes and we need to fill them, and we need to trade some players like Joe Thuney. I don't want to see Elliman go, but I wouldn't be surprised if he went for like a second or a third round pick. We need.
Do you think a team would really trade a second or third rounder for him?
A team that's on the cusp, yeah. I mean, the Saints, they just got Emmanuel Sanders, but like a team like that needs a second or third receiver that's on the cusp. The 49ers, like I wouldn't be surprised if they went after him. A team that is right there that needs that extra player. Like I'd rather trade for him than trade for Stephon Diggs and give up all these freaking picks.
Oh my God. The Bills gave up their whole draft for Stephon. I mean, it's gonna help, but
he's good. But Josh Allen's a quarterback. He's gonna overthrow him every single time.
That guy is a running back who throws. I mean, they were like showing his stats. He has 17 rushing touchdowns already, which is like greater than so many other running backs who have played over the first couple of years.
Cam Newton used to do that. Now look at him.
Yeah.
He's gonna get hurt.
No, he definitely is. You can't be too athletic for the NFL. Like at some point, these guys are gonna hit you.
Yeah. It's just crazy. Like I feel like the draft, this process, especially with there are no physicals and whatnot, like it's killed Tua's stock. And teams, if you're a GM and you pass on him like the Dolphins, and you draft Justin Herbert, you're fired immediately.
Yeah.
You have two first-round picks. You're the Miami Dolphins, for Christ's sakes. If you mess up, you mess up. You mess up every year in the draft. You cannot let him just go to another team. Like watch him go to Jacksonville or something. Like if he stays out of the AFC East, that's great. Draft Justin Herbert. Let's get another Mark Sanchez in there and see him crumble.
Yeah, all these guys that go top 5 in the AFC East still can't do anything.
Sam Darnold too, like another Pac-12 quarterback. Clearly, when
I think Sam Darnold will be good though. I still think like he's got great size. He's got a great arm. Like I think he's just played with like a bad coordinator. Like his coach is awful.
He doesn't have the it factor. Tua does.
Like, yeah.
I never in college watched Sam Darnold take you down a field and like win. Like when they put him in the game and like a couple years ago, they took Jalen Hurns out in the championship game and he led them
Yeah.
back. Like this kid's special. Like he's got that it factor. And if I'm drafting a quarterback in the top 10 and he doesn't have that, I am passing on that.
That's true.
You want another Josh Rosen? Go for it. Another Pac-12 quarterback. Like,
Oh my God, yeah.
they're terrible. Like they play this like West Coast offense, and they all get to the NFL, and it's too fast for them.
Yeah, now it's like the air raid guys that are good. All
Yeah,
these guys in the air raid offense.
I mean, it's like where did Mahomes go, like Texas Tech or something?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It's just crazy. But if the Pats don't draft a quarterback, I don't want to happen, but there's still like those guys out there, like veterans you can sign for like a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
If you can get like, I don't want Andy Dalton, but if you can get him like a 1-year, $5 million deal.
So does Cam Newton do anything to you?
I do not want Cam Newton anywhere near this team.
What about Jameis Winston? If we go through the crap back line.
I mean, he did just get LASIK, so he must be better. He's had fumble and interception issues since he was in college. Like that's never going to change. But what's interesting is that every quarterback that's had first year in Bruce Arians' offense has thrown so many interceptions. And then the next year they do well. Carson Palmer threw a ton, Peyton Manning threw a ton, Roethlisberger threw a ton. And then the second year they all did well, but they were like, "Oh, screw this, we're going to Tom Brady." Like,
wow.
It's interesting, and it's crazy that a team like the Chargers would rather have Tyrod Taylor than any of those guys.
I know. How can they open up that stadium? I feel like Cam Newton, they've said like he's going to wait till like after the draft, but I think he is, and other teams are waiting to see kind of what the landscape is. But I think Cam Newton has still got to be a starter somewhere. It's not going to be a starter in Foxborough probably, but I mean, LA has got to take a chance with him to open up that stadium.
How can Cam Newton go from MVP? It was a couple years ago, but even before he got hurt last year, the year before, he wasn't like a bad quarterback. How does he go from that to not getting an NFL job?
He can't even like hit his receivers now, though. I feel like is the thing. Yeah. Like before, it was that he could run around. Like he can't even make like the little dump off throws anymore. Like I don't know. Yeah. They had Kyle Allen come in last year, and he was like way better than Cam.
Yeah, for like 3 games, and then he sucked.
Yeah, I mean he sucked, but he was like still better than like Cam, like a better passer.
The Panthers screwed him over so badly by signing Teddy Bridgewater and like not telling Cam before the free agency period happened. Free agency already ended, and then like all the jobs were already taken.
Yeah, and they were like, "Go try to like get a trade or something." He's like, "I didn't ask for a trade."
But Cam Newton's gonna have to like fight for a job like at like I mean, there's a lot of crappy quarterbacks in the league, but
he should be one of them. Yeah.
I mean, Christ, he's better than both Oakland quarterbacks. It's the Broncos. Like, who's their quarterback? Drew Lock. He's better.
Drew Lock, yeah.
He's better than Cam Newton or Jameis Winston.
See, that's what I think. I think Jameis Winston. I think him and Cam. We're probably going to see those guys playing at some point this year. Like
you're gonna see Jameis playing in the Canada Football League for Johnny Manziel's old team.
Oh my God, the Argonauts or whatever.
Imagine if Jameis Winston's the best quarterback in the XFL when it comes back.
Yeah, I think they're like shutting down though or something.
Well, like but they'll come back. It was actually like pretty good for a while, but it's crazy to think that there are quarterbacks that are like Jared Stidham is an unknown, and there's not even a thought about Cam Newton or Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Like he was drafted in the 4th round.
I thought maybe we could bring in Mariota or something, but obviously he went over to Oakland.
You wanted Mariota?
No, I was thinking of like guys that Belichick might try things out with. And like, I don't know, for some reason I thought Mariota from like the Chip Kelly times, and like he was really good in college, but if you could get him low. I mean, the Pats love getting guys low. Like that's the reason why I say Tua, because if you're even talking about the Pats getting him, that means he slipped to probably 13 to 15 at least. Like,
Yeah.
they're not going to make a move to slide that far for a guy, especially
Yeah.
at QB. So
I
he's going to
agree.
have to slide like far, and then like that's where it gets interesting. It's like, holy crap.
If he gets past 10, it's going to be interesting because all those teams, none of those teams need quarterbacks.
Remember that year that Brady Quinn went like number 22? People thought he was going to go number 3. They took Joe Thomas and Brady Quinn in the same year because they thought like they were choosing him over like Joe Thomas, and they had like 2 chances to get him.
Yeah, I mean, if only the Raiders took him instead of Jamarcus Russell, where would we be?
Oh my God, it'd be in a lot different place. Jamarcus Russell, guy took 30 million and then just did a bunch of Sprite.
Went right to McDonald's.
Yeah,
Kentucky Fried Chicken. Yeah, that guy was a piece of
it was
garbage.
getting crunk
Like good old Park.
like Al Jeff.
Yep. It's been a 2020 has been literally a car wreck, obviously with this stuff going on. But Mookie Betts traded, Tom Brady, Gronk. You know, the Red Sox are rebuilding, Pats are rebuilding.
Yeah, this is a unfamiliar place for fans of
The NHL and NBA, like both of our teams were like top in the league, and then the season gets like halted. It's just one thing after another. The Gronk thing didn't even phase me. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like,
Yeah, I know. At this point, it's like, I guess after you have to deal with getting rid of Brady, like you're just kind of like, all right.
I just know that Gronk is, he's a good. He might catch 10 touchdowns, but he also might get 400 yards, and he's getting paid $10 million.
Yeah, he is making out the best in this scenario by far. Gets $9 million.
Brady and Arians are drinking some beers and talking about trading for Elliman and Amendola.
Oh my God, Danny Amendola. He signed up with the Detroit Patriots, right?
Exactly. Patricia. Patricia.
They can't sign enough Patriots, can they?
He's one of our most hated coaches in the league too. No one likes him.
How does he made it to year 3? They should can his ass. They should have cut him after year 1, and they brought him in for 3 years. Like, I don't know. I feel like he is just he tries to be Belichick. He tries to tell guys to run, and it's like, dude, you haven't run.
Trey Flowers, he needs a cart to walk around. Like, you signed Trey Flowers to like $100 million. Trey Flowers, good player, but come on. Then you signed Jamie Collins.
Jamie Collins to like $10 million a year too.
You know he just got paid, so he is going to be doing nothing.
I know he's going to be doing exactly what he was doing with the Browns for that little bit, just cashing in.
Traded for Daron Harmon, he would have been like our third safety this year. And speaking of safeties, I think Patrick Chung will probably get released or traded.
Really? I think he's one of Bill's guys. I think Bill likes him.
Yeah, but he can't play. He's always hurt.
Yeah.
Why
are the McCourties untouchable when speaking of secondary?
I don't understand why we signed the brother, like Jason McCourty, to $5 million.
To like $5 million?
Like, since when? Like, when was
the McCourties are making out better than anybody ever did in that backfield.
He must have the McCourties must book Kraft's massage parlor schedule. They send him to the right places. So
I was gonna say they must have caught them deflating balls or something.
Exactly. I mean, McCourty, like, he wasn't even our second best corner. Like, who's the young, like, undrafted guy that last year that played a lot? He was our second cornerback. It wasn't McCourty.
Yeah.
I mean,
McCourty was never like the second cornerback.
McCourty had a good year last year. He has been a great pick and a great safety for us for a long time. But he's getting paid a lot of money.
He's getting paid like $10 million a year. He's so not worth it. They signed him to that like 2-year, like $20 million.
I honestly feel like they signed it. They needed him back to like
get the locker room.
Yeah, exactly. Like they had to sign Matt Slater. They had to get him back. Which I have no problem with. Matt Slater's like the best. Like, I have no problem with Matt Slater, but they need to keep the locker room.
How much of a bleep show do you think the NFL draft is going to be with everything being like hooked up to things? Like, I can only imagine you never saw the horse thing, but it was so bad, like the technology. And I don't know if you ever heard about like the complaints about it or whatever, but
So over under on the amount of screens that Belichick breaks on during the draft.
oh my God, at
Imagine
least,
like it like freezing on him and him like remember that time he threw the tablet on the sidelines?
yeah.
Like
They
he
said
can't
like
even,
they have these procedures in place, like a second in command, like in case the first guy can't put his thing in. It's like, imagine you're trying to make the draft for this franchise and like you have a tablet that's not working.
Nick
You're gonna
Saban's
punt
wife.
that thing to the moon.
Nick Saban's wife just taught him how to send emails.
I know
Like,
that
and you know
has to be
Belichick's the
BS.
same way.
How does he talk to recruits?
He doesn't. He just has his minions do it. But you
What
know,
what do they send him letters? Send him letters instead.
but like Belichick doesn't know how to do this technical stuff. Like, who's going to be the one? And it's because of the virus. Like, there's obviously going to have to be someone there, like from the IT guy for the Pats, to like help it out. But imagine if there's like some sort of cyber attack during this, and it just all crumbles.
I think it is going to be such like a crap show because I've seen like different events that they've tried to do. Like I said, after seeing the horse thing and just how everyone's technology is going to bug out.
Didn't you watch the
And
WNBA
if
draft?
you've ever been on any Zoom meetings at work, you've already seen how some people are bugging out, not getting those things to work. I mean, these things are not going to work. And why can't they just put some of these guys? Why can't they just go to the Pats facility and allow like Kraft, Belichick, and like a couple guys in there? They have to have everyone.
Because the media will go nuts over that. Look at the
Oh,
NFL; like they're not taking Corona seriously. You know,
yeah.
it's the pressure from media to make sure everyone's taking the right precautions. Like the fact that there's no physicals, like this is when
Well, Gronk
Belichick.
somehow passed a physical like instantaneously.
Oh yeah, out of nowhere, just past the
Gronk
physical.
and Brady have been like the only two. Those two wanted to get out of Foxborough so fast they like already had their physical signed, sealed, and delivered. Tell me those two didn't want to get out of Foxborough quick. I mean,
Oh my god,
you
I'm
haven't
telling
found
you,
anybody who's probably taken a physical in the last month except for those two.
I'm telling you, Gronk. This has been in the works for a long time. Brady's knew he was leaving for a long time, and he's probably been telling Gronk to come back for a long time.
It's got to be so nice if you're Gronk. He just says that he's not going to play for any team but Tampa Bay, and then Tampa Bay trades for him, and he has a $9 million clause. Like, and he gets to play with Brady.
Is there a GM in Tampa now, or is it Brady? He's running the show.
He's definitely running the show.
Imagine Brady walking into Belichick's office and being like, "So,
we need Gronk.
We need Gronk. We need to trade for Gronk." Tom, I'd ask. Can you please leave the office?
Yeah, go F
Never
yourself.
say that again. So I don't know. This should be the time Belichick shines because, like, that like there was pictures of Belichick like during the combine. He was like watching this like undrafted like linebacker in the pouring rain, this guy that like no one would think of, and it's like he loves that stuff. Like,
why does he get off on that so much? Why won't he just take the talented guys? Like I just feel like he doesn't even care about like his first and second round picks.
So like he does though. Like when there's like a high tower that comes along, he's all over that.
Yeah.
You need elite players. Like he signed Gilmore for a reason. But like he loves the system guys. It's like, all right, I'm going to sign this guy out of Nebraska State that was a backup last year. We'll get him in the 4th round when you could have taken.
But he did this one thing really well.
When you could have signed him as an undrafted free agent. Like remember when they signed the long snapper like the 4th round a couple years ago? It's like because he went to Navy. It's like
Dan Skipper.
Yeah. That type of stuff is just like you signed the running back at Alabama last year. He didn't even suit up for a game.
Yeah, well, he should be getting some burn this year, right?
I mean, can we trade Sony Michel? Does he have any value left?
Yeah.
I'd trade him for a 4th round pick at this point.
Yeah. So did you watch The Last Dance?
Of course I did. I was loving it because it was just talking about how Jordan's the greatest of all time.
Honestly, it was tough to watch that, like in contrast to like LeBron. Like It's
Like,
tough to watch that and then say that
but
LeBron's the best
if
ever.
you think about it, like when LeBron played against the Pistons that year, like he beat they beat the old school Pistons. Remember, like early on,
Yeah.
and like he did it all himself, and he was playing with like who was their second best player, Larry Hughes or like some schmuck. But like,
Yeah, it was like Antoine Jameson and Mo Williams.
but Jordan against the Celtics, up until that point, he was playing 14 minutes a game, and the rest of his team was an absolute joke, and he just demolished them. And it's so funny to watch Larry Bird with a mullet trying to guard Michael Jordan.
Oh,
Like
I know.
watching
All
Larry
those
Bird,
guys.
watching
He's
Larry
like
Bird highlights
he's
is the
Jesus
funniest.
disguised as Larry Bird or
Watching Larry
as
Bird
Michael
highlights is
Jordan.
the funniest thing. And like he makes these passes, and it's like this like redneck white guy, just like behind the back passes, like talking trash, just raining shots everywhere. And then you have the greatest player of all time, like just dominating them. I just, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens the rest of the documentary. But the one thing that was weird is that Jerry Krause guy, he got so much hate on that. Jerry Krause built the Bulls.
He
OG
built
Michael,
them, yeah.
like he did everything, and like ego got in the way, and he ruined it. But he built that team, and like the amount of trash they like, oh, well, we'll have to lower the hoop for you, little man. Like they blatantly just ripped this guy, and it's
I
just
think
crazy.
yeah, he should get some credit. Like obviously he wanted too much, but I mean, without him, they don't assemble that team.
But like so many like dynasties end. Like the Pats are dynasty ended too late. Like Brady's gone, we have no plan. He knew that there was like 1 year left, and he wanted to like make a smart decision and not just tank it like the Spurs are right now. Like it's over and they have no plan of action. He was thinking like smart. He was being a good GM. It's just how do you tell Phil Jackson this is your last year?
I know. And how do you want to nip it in the bud when you have Jordan and Pippen? Like how do
They
you
could
want to
they could have won, the year out. I mean, I think Scottie Pippen probably could have got traded, and that contract he signed is like, oh my
7
god.
years, 18 million? I think Wes Welker literally signed the same contract with the Pats. Like
But like, no one like Jordan's like, oh, well, I didn't feel bad. I think Scottie didn't handle this the right way. It's like, all right, Jordan, you get paid $2 million, and you're like the fifth best player in the NBA. You deal with it.
yeah.
Scottie Pippen was a beast. He
Oh,
was
I know. He was arguably like the second best player in the division, like, when he was playing with Jordan
I mean,
at certain
Jordan
times.
wasn't there. Didn't he win the MVP?
I don't know if he won the MVP, but he won one season. He led this Chicago Bulls in every statistical category, basically.
I'm just waiting for them to start talking about Rodman. That's when it's going to get interesting.
The worm, yeah.
Because Jordan and him had lots of screaming matches. Like,
Really? I didn't know that.
yeah, and I thought it was funny, like when the Bulls beat like some European team, and they're like, "Oh, like, can I get a hug?" Or like, "We're gonna celebrate tonight." And Jordan's like, "Get away from me."
Yeah. Well, and they were like, he talked about how he walked in on them all doing like blow and then like was just like, I'm never going around that stuff again. Just like practiced all the time instead.
Dude, how about Jordan playing golf with Danny Ainge the day before?
The day before.
Danny Ainge, like of all people, and him just telling, "Yeah, tell DJ I'm coming for him tonight," and he puts up 63. And like these aren't 3 pointers; these are like hard 2 point shots he's hitting.
Oh, I know. He was such a master of those
That
mid-range
that
shots.
86 Celtics team is a top probably 5 team all time, and he just like they all knew it was going to him every time. You couldn't name another player on that team,
I
and he
know.
just destroyed them in the Garden, which like no one played well in. 49 one game, 63 the next. It's like, holy, you watch the highlights, you're like, oh my God.
He was just so unstoppable. He was like a Westbrook with the skill of like Kobe. Like it's just amazing how he was able to like pour it on like nonstop, but then he had such finesse at the same time. Like
But like
he was like
that
the
men,
coolest cat. Like he was so cool. Like he was all like buttoned up, like shoes buttoned up,
Yeah.
like the
That
look.
man, that mentality though, like a killer. Like I, I always like NBA player. Like I like Westbrook because of that. Like I like that mentality. And like I know you're not the biggest Jaylen Brown fan, but like I think he has that mentality. Like if they were celebrating like beating some European team, he'd be like, "Get away from me!" Like whereas I
Yeah.
think LeBron would like be a part of it and be like, "Oh, we beat like this team," and it's just like God. Like if you give Kobe LeBron's talent, he would have won 10 championships. It's just that killer drive to always be the best, to not accept, losing. And that's
Yeah.
where the difference is between the two, Jordan
No,
and
I
LeBron.
think there's like it's honestly like refreshing to see like that scene like where Jordan has to like persevere through the broken foot and like he's just like doesn't even think like it's a 90% chance that it could be okay, 10%. It's like now as a GM, you would never play your guy. And like
How
these
about how
guys,
about his response about the pills? He's like, 9 pills would be good, one would die. Well, how
oh,
bad
one would
the
be
headache?
cyanide. Yeah.
How
How
bad's the
bad's the
fucking
effing
headache?
headache?
Oh
Yeah.
my god! Like he was just another like different breed, and it's like so refreshing to watch that type of NBA. Like I miss that. Like we're not friends with you. We're competing against each other, and it's like now you watch it.
Yeah,
And it's
and
like
they all wanted to play like 82 games. Like Jordan wanted to play 82 games so bad, and then like, was like took pride in being responsible for like 72 win. Like they just cared so much more about like everything. Like they cared about every game. Nowadays, you just like coast through the regular season. Your star might play 20 game, might miss 20 games, might miss 25 games. It's just a whole different thing. It's like,
so
what
do you
does
think?
Jordan think of Kawhi Leonard?
Uh, so it's funny. Imagine being the Portland Trailblazers. You've passed on Michael Jordan and Kevin Durant for two centers that didn't do anything in the NBA. Like Hakeem Olajuwon was a sure thing first overall pick. That's a no
Yeah,
brainer. But like
that one you can't like really
you,
judge.
li-
I mean,
you
at the
listen
end
to
of the
the,
day, you can, but
listen to these college coaches back then, like Roy Williams. He's like Michael Jordan was like he went into the camp as like someone we kind of knew about. He left. We knew he was the best player in the country.
mm,
Like, and he took pride in like becoming. He was obsessed with it.
yeah, he told Dean Smith like he's like I'll be the best ever here or whatever.
And it's the thing.
Like
Same thing
I'll
with Brady. Brady, like he's just obsessed with being great. That's the same thing with Kobe. Obsessed with being great. Tiger Woods, obsessed with being great. And then you have LeBron, and it's like he doesn't have that. He's the great, like talent wise, like probably the best ever. But
yeah.
there's so much he didn't like. He should have 5 rings now, and he
Yeah,
doesn't. And
it's just kind of hard to say that somebody with 3 rings doesn't have like a killer mentality. Like at some point, the rubber meets the road and you have to win some of those battles. I mean, I
yeah.
get what you're saying.
But
Does
but
he
but
have the
like
same competitive spirit as some of those other guys? No, but I mean,
the only time, and not the only time, but the first time I ever saw LeBron James like say, "I'm the greatest player in the world. I'm going to stomp on you," was
oh,
against the Celtics
was
games.
against the Celtics.
That was like watching. It was like, oh my god, and he shot it from everywhere, and he took over, and it's like, where is this? Like every game, you could do this every game.
I know.
Why don't you do that? And I just think he cares too much about people think about him and stuff. Jordan doesn't give a shit what anyone thinks about him. He's not a good person. He stays out of the media. He doesn't want to be associated with anything. And he's just like, yeah, I'm the greatest. Like
I know. It was crazy to see how he handled his business. Just like, I'm the
also
best.
like when Jordan got drafted, the Bulls, didn't they say like no one went to their games? Like people would go to the Blackhawk games and everything. It was a joke.
They were nowhere on the map.
And then he
And
just
like they thought that Jordan wouldn't be able to carry them. They're like, he's a smaller guy. Did you see that? Like they're like, he's a smaller guy. He's only 6'6". He's not like a 7-footer. Like back then, they thought like you needed a big guy, and like
yeah, but
he just
people said that like when LeBron's coming in the league, like NBA players were like, well, how good can he really be? Like they doubt him. There's a lot of stuff coming about him in the league, but Jordan, like his third game in, it was like, oh my God.
I
Like,
know.
this is, and everyone knew he was the best player in the league, and it just took until he got some better players around him to win. Granted, like in the 90s, the talent in the 90s is nowhere near as good as the talent today. But you put Jordan on the teams today, and I think he's still putting up ridiculous numbers.
Oh, I think if Harden can put up 37 and Jordan put up 37 in like 84, like
I would
or
love to watch Jordan go against Harden in a 7-game series. Jordan covers Harden. Harden would average like
Harden would
16
have no
a
idea
game.
what to do.
He'd have 16 points a game. He'd shoot 33s, and Jordan would be in his head all game long.
Oh yeah. And
It's,
he'd just be missing threes, like fadeaway, step back threes.
another thing too with the documentary is Phil Jackson the most overrated coach of all time.
All he did was like tell those teams to meditate, and then he's won
He's coached
12
Jordan,
titles.
Pippen, O'Neal, and Kobe.
I
4
know.
top 25 players all time. Granted, he had to coach them
The
all, but it's like he walks around like he's this greatest coach. It's like Joe Torre. It's like, what did you actually do? Like,
the thing is though, is those duos, they never won before him though. Like it's amazing that like they kind of needed him. Like, I don't know. I always thought that too. Like they played for an overrated team, but they the years before Kobe and Shaq couldn't win with him, and I don't know how long he was there. Was he there the whole time with Pippen? Because they started winning like right away once Pippen got there.
yeah, that's
But
crazy. Like Pippen's story, like he was and it's, like a
Water boy,
he was a ball boy, and then he got a scholarship, and then he grew like 7 inches.
I
Went
know
to
that's
some random
crazy.
college.
And then he had all these guard skills at the forward position
Yeah,
because
it's crazy. Like those guys that start out as like that seems like Jokic today. He was a point guard, then he grew like 7 inches, and that's why his ball skills are crazy. He's a great passer. But
yeah,
yeah, Pippen is like
Anthony Davis is another one. Like there's so many guys.
Pippen's probably one of the most underrated players of all time in the NBA.
Oh, I
You
think
watch
so
his
by
highlights,
far.
you're like, oh my god, when he dunked over Patrick Ewing and like stepped on him.
Oh, I know. He could just like I know. It was amazing because he was kind of like a Jordan. Like he was so good.
He was
Could do
probably a better
everything.
defender and passer than Jordan.
Yeah.
But
Probably a
Jordan
better
was,
rebounder too.
yeah, Jordan's just a better scorer.
Yeah.
And Jordan just gets, but I really like that Jordan said right off the bat, there's no Jordan without Scottie Pippen. Like,
Yeah.
that was good to hear because you just always, it's Jordan in the Bulls. And like, you talk about Pippen, but without Pippen, there's no 6 rings. There's probably 1
Exactly.
or
They
2.
needed each other. He didn't win it without him.
Yeah. I mean, again, like LeBron couldn't win on his own. You get it. Like, just there's so much left he could do. Like, he won the MVPs. Congratulations. Aaron Rodgers won MVPs too. Peyton Manning won MVPs, but at the end of the day, you look at his career and you're like, you could have won so many more championships. Like,
Yeah.
up until the Warriors started like winning all this stuff, he was by far the best player in the league. And he should have capitalized on that before the league got like ridiculous, like the amount of talent around the league. And like he was in the Eastern Conference for so long, just
I know.
cakewalk, just like the Pats have always had.
Yeah. No, it's tough. I mean, he probably should have won a few more, but the West was so stacked those years, and he didn't quite have like the help that he needed. I mean, he burned so much of his career in at the early part of his career with Cleveland.
Yeah,
All those years with no help.
like and like that's management's problem, right? Like they never got him the help, and like you're not gonna no free agent wants to go to Cleveland. Like what's his name? Joakim Noah said like I don't want to come to Cleveland on vacation. Like the place sucks. But
Yeah.
the management never drafted good players, and they forced him. Like they made his decision for him to leave. It's just when he was in Miami, like he went 2-2, and they lost to Dirk Nowitzki in the Mavs.
I know that was the only finals ever where there's one guy that carried the team. Dirk Nowitzki
Like
completely carried.
the Spurs, like they were Tim Duncan was still like he was on the end of his career, but he was still elite. That team
Yeah.
was like fundamentally sound, but he should have more than he does. And
Yeah,
it's sad that
3's not bad at the end of the day. Not terrible.
how many have you lost? Is he three? Is he 3-3?
No, he's like 3 and he's lost like 6, hasn't he?
Then there you go. I mean, you
Yeah.
can't count the first one. The first one was against the Spurs, and like that team sucked. They shouldn't have even been there. But
Or some of those bad Cleveland teams, but
yeah, and then he had to go through the Celtics, obviously. But he should have more, and like that's all the greats in the NBA have a lot of rings, and he doesn't. That's why you can never put him in the same category as Jordan.
oh, 3?
3.
He's got 3. Come on.
Friggin' what the guy in
It's
the
a different
Lakers?
age too. All players move around. Like back then, dynasties could live a little bit longer.
He's LeBron James. He signs like he would sign 1 or 2 year contracts and recruit the best. So you're telling me like when they had like Kyrie Irving, Kevin, like those aren't good players?
No, they were, but I mean, they went up against some teams that were more stacked than them.
Who?
LeBron didn't often lose to a team. Didn't lose to a team that was like better than his. Like it was always losing to a better team.
Okay. I just
No, I mean, I hear you.
but like after this documentary, I think a lot of people will kind of put this thing to bed. And like I don't
I think
agree
so
with,
too.
I don't agree with people saying like this is why LeBron's not the greatest. It's like everyone knows he's not the greatest. Even Dwayne Wade came out and said like this is why Jordan's the GOAT, and that's his best friend. Like
Yeah.
LeBron James knows he's not the greatest. He's never gonna say it, but he knows there's Jordan and there's everybody else. He's probably 2 or 3, and Jordan is the NBA. Without Jordan, there's none of this.
It's always fun to debate. People want to debate. Before Kobe was even 17 or 18, they wanted to put him against Jordan. Like they always want to put someone against
The one
Jordan.
thing with those 2 players, they could play in any era of basketball.
Yeah,
You could put LeBron in the 80s and 90s. You put Jordan today, and they'd still put up like crazy numbers.
I agree.
They're not the 3-point shooters. They're 2-point shooters, passing. If LeBron actually wanted to play defense, he could be an All NBA defender. But
Yeah.
I get it. He wants to save his energy for.
He wants to play 20 seasons instead. That's the cooler thing right now.
Yeah, exactly. He wants to play with the Sun. It's like Jordan wanted to win championships. That's it. There was no other. It's like Brady. It's a championship, but the season sucks. The season's over.
Yeah.
Whereas I think LeBron sometimes is okay with losing in the Western Conference Finals, not getting there, and it's just, God, you could be the greatest of all time. You have talent, best passer I've ever seen. His scoring when he wants to score, no one can stop him.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy that he still scores like 25 and he doesn't even care.
The thing is, like, the difference between Jordan and LeBron is LeBron makes players better. I don't think Jordan made anyone better. He just pushed them to like play harder.
He pushed them and like his individual.
Yeah, LeBron makes all of his players good. It's like Brady, but I don't know. It's hard to say. I just think this documentary is great to watch, and I hope someday they do one about LeBron too. After all this is done, because it's going to be interesting to see how this all pans out.
Yeah, no, that'll be fun to see.
I hope you don't have any tissues over there every Sunday night for the next couple of weeks watching this.
No, it's definitely an education, and I definitely think it'll put to bed the rest of like, for all of us who our biggest memories of Jordan are like Space Jam, like, it'll be like, wow, he really was like.
I'll just end it on this. Do you think if the doctor told LeBron you have a 10% chance you'll never play again, do you think he plays in those regular season games?
No, but I think it's a totally different culture as well. I don't think most stars would play in the 10%.
I think Westbrook would.
Yeah.
I think Damian Lillard would. Like, you have to have that killer instinct. Like, LeBron James is amazing at basketball. I don't think he is obsessed with basketball like some of these other guys are. That's why he'll never be the greatest.
All right, fair enough.
One day you'll admit that Jordan was better.
When LeBron does, maybe I will. Got to defend the wall.
Yeah. This was his last chance, by the way. I hope Anthony Davis leaves after this year and goes somewhere else.
That ain't happening. You know that deal's already signed before he
No, I
even
know.
went
But
there.
that team is just – what's that team next year?
They're going to have to get another star, maybe Bradley Beal.
How are they going to get him? What draft picks?
I don't know. I've heard his name.
How are you going to get him? They don't have a first-round pick for 5 years.
I don't know.
I'm just saying, it's those two versus
It's
all
pretty
these
bare.
Who?
I said it's pretty bare over there for as far as assets.
And he's 35, 36. He's having a great year.
Kuzma's their only asset left, basically.
Kuzma is so overrated. He's not mentally strong enough to play with those guys.
Yeah.
He's mentally weak. He's not. He's got talent, but he's like Big Baby when KG would yell at him and just cries in the corner.
Yeah.
You need to step up every once in a while, man. Hit some big shots.
Just like LeBron.
Jaylen Brown would. He would get the two and then miss the free throw.
Well, let's hope that he's touched the ball in the last 5 weeks, unlike Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum says he hasn't touched the ball in 35 days or whatever. So hopefully he's dribbling.
Jimmy Butler bought basketball hoops for his whole team.
That's ridiculous that they need to have hoops. I had a hoop when I was like 5.
You telling me Jason Tatum doesn't have a hoop at his house?
Yeah.
You can't go buy a hoop?
I know.
Come on, man. The season's, if it starts out, the Celtics are just going to crumble, especially if it's in these stadiums where there's no fans. A young team like that needs fans. They always play well at home. They suck on the road.
Oh, especially in the NBA, the fans are so big. The home field court advantage.
The veteran teams are going to dominate.
Yeah.
They don't need the fans.
The teams that have had a chance to be together. Yeah.
Exactly. They're going to dominate, and these other teams are just going to crumble. It sucks.
Hopefully the Lakers can squeeze one out.
Yeah. Well, Kawhi has had a lot of break now, so hopefully he's well and rested.
Oh, he only needs to sit out another 20 games the rest of the way.
Probably the most overrated player in the NBA, but
gets it done when it counts, I guess.
He hits shots. LeBron decides to pass. It's just the difference of the two.
Yeah. Well, I think that's going to do it for us here on Open Season. It's good going back and forth with you.
Yeah. Let's hopefully the Pats come through this week. I really need some good news. It's just been 2 months of every day is miserable.
Oh, hopefully we got something. Maybe we'll have Tua next week at this time.
I'll have a party with myself.
Justin Herbert.
I'll have a virtual party on Zoom if that's the case.
All right, man.
All right, take it easy.
All right, you too.
See ya.